Hello, hello, hello. Greetings and salutations. I hope that everyone is doing as healthy and as well as they can be right now during this time. And I hope that everyone is taking care of themselves also. All right, so let's talk about today. Today is Tuesday, and I've been meaning to do this for a while. I wanted to start earlier in the week, but that just didn't happen. I woke up with like a like eye infection. I think it was really allergies because it went away over a couple days, but I also could just have dry skin. That's probably most likely the case. But um, anyway, that's settled down now, and then it was Easter, and then everything got crazy. So now I'm finally able to put this time aside to do what I really would wanting to do, which is do little short videos about each day ahead as the astrological weather, so to speak, is changing, and we can kind of navigate that and see what's going on. So, to start off, we are in Aries season. We are just about a little over halfway through the sign of Aries, and there has been a lot going on in Aries during this time. We have, as far as planets go, we have three planets right now, and two asteroids, and I think we also have Ceres over there as well. I see Eris and I see Chiron, and I believe Ceres is also here in Aries as well. So that's a lot going on, a lot to unpack. So I just want to talk about the daily planets which are the Sun, Venus, Mars, Mercury, Saturn, and Jupiter. We won't get into too much of the outside planets unless we're talking about aspects and whatnot. But all right, let's jump in. So we have the Sun in Aries, like I was saying, and with all of the different planetary influences that are happening there, it's definitely making for a busy time. Now, Aries is a cardinal sign, so we're talking about initiating energy here, okay? We're talking about I've had an idea, so now I'm going to initiate and get some inertia going with that idea, okay? And so since we have that igniting, initiating, starting, beginning energy, we have the Sun, which is our expression, okay? So the Sun, in the sign of Aries is reflecting those Aries tendencies. So we're having, in Aries is springtime. So we also have we have that like sense of gusto during this time. Like, okay, the spring is coming. The water is getting warmer, or water, weather is getting warmer, and then my screen just went dark. Okay, so the weather is getting warmer. Spring is here, so we have that initiation into the year. If you're planting, it's time to start planting some seeds. If you are planning out your year, springtime is basically the time that everyone is doing that, so to speak, getting everything started. So it just makes sense that that Aries energy is so prevalent and relevant right now. Let me bring up my astro chart again. So, all right, so as I wait for this to open up, we have Venus that is also in Aries at this time. So, Venus is a water type planet, and Aries, as we know, is a fire type. So we have the Sun, which is obviously fire, and the Sun is exalted in Aries because fire with fire, that's a good match. Water with fire, not so much, because fire is hot and water is wet. So we kind of have that smothering kind of aspect with Venus there. But also Venus in Aries kind of causes Venus, to feel that heat, to kind of feel in a way that's not necessarily normal, because water, there is a very consistent pattern in both of water and fire. Fire is hot, water is wet, and can be hot, can be cold, but that it's just a difficult aspect there with things that are two completely different nature there. So with Venus covering our senses, sensuality, how we relate to the world in that aspect of is it beautiful, is it nurturing, is it passionate, is it what does it do to our senses? Does it excite our senses? Does it repel our senses? That's kind of the realm of Venus there. So we have this kind of hot initiating energy with Venus there. So Venus is kind of taking that cue as like, okay, time to go, time to get going. And the Sun, our expression, is putting those initiating factors into motion there. Also, we have Mercury that just joined Aries. We're at 4 degrees now, so it's fairly in the beginning. I think it ingressed into Aries a couple days ago. But so now that we have Mercury in Aries, we have an extra planet of communication. Mercury covers our communication, thoughts, all the things that kind of have to do with the transference of information from one place to the other, whether that have to be with like spirituality, with mediums, with electronic communication, with paper, with verbal, with emotional. It's all sort of this. Mercury covers all of the communication and thought realm and aspect. So that being said, computer decided to go dark again. Okay, that being said, now we have this extra energy. So you may be feeling like you have this need to be chatty, a need to be talky, a need to get those ideas and communication out there. You might feel the need to start conversations, start dialogues about things that you're interested in and passionate about. I think the only like major planet that doesn't cover some sort of facet of like our expression and drive is Mars, which is in Gemini, which is an equally kind of up there sign. Mars and Aries, like I'm a draconic Aries, and my my regular natal sign is Gemini. So having that that initiating energy that is part of me, and also that kind of dualistic back and forth energy, is really difficult for me to try and get. I have no issue getting things started, but trying to get things completed without 8 million distractions in the meantime and not giving up in the process because I get so frustrated is extremely difficult. So that's something that I'm still struggling with to this day as an adult with this, something I've been dealing with my entire life. So I can definitely understand the frustration of people who are not Aries and people who, prefer to have that more stable energy, that more consistent energy, whereas Aries is just kind of like whoop, 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 whoop. Which is totally fine, but sometimes you just gotta, kind of like make a plan and try and stick with it without involving too many extra pots and pans into the mixture that doesn't necessarily need to be there, or just kind of adds more excitement and distraction than it does help. So we also, like I said earlier, have Mars and Gemini, which Mars and Gemini is that, Mars is that passion. It's that driving force. It's what do I want to do? And then with Gemini, Gemini's like, well, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So, and it's Venus time, according to my planetary hour clock. So when you have that back and forth with your drives and with your passions and with the things that we are initiating with Aries, our passions and our drives are changing. They're changing rapidly and quickly, and Mars is a, kind of a delay fish. I call that the delay fish aspect with Mars and Gemini, because Mars just kind of has this way of delaying in certain signs, and with Gemini being such a sign where there's so much dynamic energy and so much going on, Mars just can't get the footing or get the grounding to make a stable decision. So it may just seem like things are being delayed right now, or they are impulsive, or things are just, coming at you quick right now. It's just one of those things with Mars and Gemini. It's just all happening fast and cataclysmically, and just trying to keep your footing and trying to keep, that center focus is the most helpful thing that I think that we can do in these times. Now, Aries is sextile to Gemini, and so all of these planets that are in Aries are also sextile to Mars in Gemini. And a sextile is a harmonious energy, and it's kind of a like a low key, not like a low key. What am I trying to say? It's a low key, but kind of a I don't want to say ho hum, but it is like a continuation of energy. It's like a harmonious energy where we're getting along. There's not too much tension. It's just real easygoing. But it's not as like dynamic as a trine is, because a trine is like there's lots of conversation happening. A sextile is kind of like when you're like elbowing somebody, and it's kind of chummy and that kind of thing. So with Mars sextile to the planets in Aries, there's a harmonious energy that's happening here. So it's not as frustrating as it could be, but it's still frustrating on a personal level whenever you're just having all of these distractions. But overall, in a sense, there is that feeling that it's going to be okay. It's going to work out. Things are going to land where they are going to land, but it's we're not over the top and like super angry and aggravated about it. We're like, okay. This is just, I just can't land right now. It's like an eagle just kind of hovering without the ability to land. So we're just kind of waiting on that to happen. All right, and we still have Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius, which all planets are still answering to Saturn as the best placed planet as its own ruler in its sign, and then Jupiter here in the air in an air sign as well, because Aquarius is an air sign, although it sounds like water. And then today we have the moon joined in Aquarius, and it is right up next to Saturn. So we might be feeling a little bit fearful about some of our fellow friends and our fellow peers out in the world, also known as mankind. There might be some emotional setbacks, maybe some emotional fears that are coming to light as it deals with the collective, and maybe some things from the past. And then Jupiter here, Jupiter is still expanding, those collective issues that are happening right now. And also the good things. It's not always about the bad things, but it is about the good things as well. So the good things and the bad things that are happening out in humanity with them, out in the world, with our friends, with the collective, with things that are happening on a mass scale that have to do with the collective as it is. Jupiter is there doing his job as the expander here. And it looks like for today, we do have a trine between Jupiter and Mars. So that dynamic air energy there, because as I said earlier, Mars is in Gemini, we have this dynamic energy going on here between Jupiter, the expander, and Mars, the passionate, the drive, and with that air. So anytime you get an air sign, air is all about it's thinking. It is because our thoughts are just like the air. They can be slow and still, or they can be moving at gale force and completely changing directions the entire time. So that's why the air quality represents our thoughts in the mental realm of our lives. So we have a lot of thinking, we have a lot of idea making, and maybe changing our minds, and just a lot to do with thoughts. And as it relates to the collective, our friends, are we thinking about our friends? Are we making plans? Are we doing some fun things, some exciting things? Or also conversely, are we letting those negative emotions kind of get out of control too? Those not emotions, but negative thoughts that can kind of happen there as well. So whenever you feel something expanding really rapidly, that's usually something to pay attention to, because I can feel that too, where I get an idea and it starts to like really, really, really take off. And then I also get a flood of like the opposite, where it's like, okay, so in comes the positive, in comes the negative, and then the whole experience can be really overwhelming, even if it's positive. So just because of the amount, the intensity of the thoughts and the emotions and everything that's cascading and coming in. So just be aware of that. And this is still a difficult time as we're still navigating with COVID. I know there's a vaccine out, so I know that this Jupiter and Mars aspect could be an indicator of the vaccine, as more people are getting out and more people are doing research and more people are wanting to get past this and move past this in a way that makes sense and that is logical, and usually vaccines are that way. So that could make sense there also. And of course, Saturn is usually doing its job here of making sure that we are fully terrified and scared out of our wits to keep on our path, to keep going. That's kind of how I see Saturn, is that kind of like that nagging, like irritating fear that keeps you going forward, because they're just something. There's something out there that's in your peripheral that might happen there. So that's how I feel about that. And it looks like we have covered everything today with Venus, Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn, Mars. I hope you are all going to have a great week, and I will see you soon.